You hear me?
Daily use this computer to do our meeting.
Right, but there's nothing like sitting on this right now.
Presentation, some presentation.
Okay.
That was the other one.
I wonder if it's like behavior, might have to pull this back up, back up.
Testing, testing. Can you hear me?
Okay. Do you want me to go text you? Because I know you should text me. I remember you in the chat. And then this is like, I don't know, like this is hooked to this, but I don't know if that goes to.
That's, yeah, that's should be no problem.
Yeah.
The main computer's down. What about on Zoom? On Zoom? Okay.
Jose? I bet he can hear. Yeah. Testing. Testing, testing.
All right, Misha, computer's up, these are running.
Oh,
Yay.
I don't know if you have to log in and if I have pulled any presentations or anything.
Good morning, Children's Voices. Thank you. Good morning, Laura FM. Would you like to provide public comment?
We already, oh, no, I have it.
Thank you.
Commissioner.
Yvonne, good morning. Would you like to provide public comment? Thank you. Morning. Good morning, LA. Audit LA, would you like to provide public comment?
I'm gonna have to wait. It's not gonna.
Thank you.
Well,
Good morning, Merjan. Would you like to provide public comment? Okay, bear with us as we try to fix audio issues.
Mine. Those are mine. Thank you.
Good morning, Gigi's phone. Would you like to provide public comment?
Yes, general public comment, please.
Thank you. Henry, would you like to provide general public comment?
Good morning. General as well as a multiple agenda item comment.
Thank you. What's up?
See, we gotta take a picture, because when we have three, we have to take.
President Kang, we're now in record mode, ready to begin.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Public Works for Wednesday, November 26, 2025. Mr. Rodriguez, please take roll and establish quorum.
We'll start with you, President Kang is here, Commissioner Cardenas is here, and Commissioner Mitchell. We have established quorum.
Thank you very much. We will get started with general public comment, which is an opportunity for the public to address the board on public interest item, and will be provided up to 1 minute per person, up to a cumulative total of 10 minutes for the general public comment segment of each regular meeting. Testimony shall be limited in content to subject matters which are within the jurisdiction of the Board of Public Works. The board may not take any action on any matters discussed during the public comment period. We do not have any in-person speakers, so we will get started with our virtual commenters.
We will go ahead and get started with Children's Voices Matter. You have 60 seconds.
Greetings all. Thank you for allowing me to speak. In UCLA, students in 2020 protested the street name of LeConte, since LeConte was a racist. Local council members unanimously voted in favor of a resolution to rename LeConte Avenue. If North Westwood can do this, why not Hollywood? L. Ron Hubbard was a racist, and there is plenty of documentation on public record to prove this. Thank you very much. Have an amazing holiday. I yield back my time.
Thank you. Next, we have Laura FN. You have 60 seconds.
Hi, good morning, board. Good morning, President Kang. Good morning, everybody. I was a little spicy the other day. I'm gonna be spicy all the time. That's just who I am. But I really, my whole intention here is to get Public Works on board with revoking Scientology's, L. Ron Hubbard way, and let's put it back to North Berendo. I was a child born and raised in this cult. I deal with this trauma on a daily basis, and Public Works has such a big play in being able to stop this trauma from reactivating every single day. If you could just bring up the permit of L. Ron Hubbard Way, and let's please bring it up as an issue for our community. We don't want to have L. Ron Hubbard Way. We want it back to North Berendo. So please revoke all of Scientology's permits until you actually investigate what they're doing with these permits. I will hope for you guys to revoke L. Ron Hubbard Way, and I will yield back my time. Thank you. Have a good, happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. We're now moving over to Yvonne. You have 60 seconds.
Thank you. Please read Municipal Code 42.20. It will give you the reasons and justifications to stop most of the permits applied for and by Scientology. The Christmas Winter Wonderland on Hollywood Boulevard has not received a permit or inspections. It should be red tagged and the public should not enter the gates. In the future, there are 2 more L. Ron Hubbard events, Candy Cane Lane and a New Year's. Those permits have not been applied for, and they are within 25 days and 35 days. Those permits should be denied due to the past practices and abuses of Scientology in regard to the use of L. Ron Hubbard Way. Thank you.
Thank you, Yvonne. Audit LA, you have 1 minute.
Good morning and happy Thanksgiving to everyone. I want to continue with what Children's Voices Matter was saying. Not only was L. Ron Hubbard just a racist, he's a convicted felon. He thinks that people who are disabled, gay, victims of any kind of anything are the lowest forms of being, like even like as lower than dead people. He was somebody who was filled with hate in that sense, thought he was the Antichrist when you go to OT level 8, called Jesus a pedophile, although, well, he worded it differently, but that was the intent. And yet we have a street named after him. And it's unbelievable. As far as the permits, they need to be stopped because they never, ever, not once, not only do they not obey them or go by any of the rules, they now are amping up to where, they really are defying the rules by not only blocking the sidewalk
It's time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving over to Mayor Jem. You have 60 seconds.
Yeah, I will just continue on all this comment because it was cut off. They are now starting to construct pieces of structures on the sidewalks that are not easily to be removed, even though the sidewalks are meant to be clear during all of their permits, event permits. So I think you should put a break on giving any permits to them at this moment on, and conduct an inspection every single time and bill the cult of Scientology for these inspections, because they are not following the permit rules consistently, and you have been receiving the documentation for that. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Moving on to Gigi's phone. You have 60 seconds.
Okay, so L. Ron Hubbard Way, the bricks were paved in part by children and indentured slaves. And I'm wondering how that was even legal to begin with, because that road is not theirs. It's Los Angeles Road. And I'm pretty sure that there's laws saying that if someone's working on a public street, that they got to be paid a certain amount. Some of these people made like $11 a week. Some of these people made nothing, and they were working on the road. Please rip up those bricks, change the name back to North Berendo, and get rid of this L. Ron Hubbard Way. This guy's a fraud. He's a racist. He says bad stuff about Jesus. He was a horrible person to have a street named after. Thank you. I yield my time.
Thank you. Henry, you have 60 seconds.
Good morning. I just want to invite the board formally on December 8th, which falls on a Monday, 8:30 a.m. at the Riverside County Historic Superior Court, where the first hearing regarding a lawsuit I filed to obtain police records concealed by Riverside County for the death that Scientology had a hand in killing a young woman and in collusion with the Riverside County Sheriff's Department. Also, tell LADWP to stop playing games with me and hand over the CPRA documents I requested about the policy for enforcing code violations. They tried some shady stuff saying that I submitted a CPRA on one topic when I didn't. Just stop the nonsense. I will get those records, but if you could just relay that over to Janice, I'd really appreciate it. And with that, I'll yield the rest of my time for general public comment on multiple agenda items.
Thank you. And I see one more hand. Georgina, would you like to give public comment?
Yes, please, and I'd like to speak on the minutes afterwards.
Okay, thank you. You have 60 seconds.
Thank you. A few things. First of all, Audit LA was mentioning the crimes of L. Ron Hubbard. He's also he's been found guilty in court of being the largest infiltrator of our federal government in history. Look up the Snow White, Operation Snow White, and you'll find out all about it. Also, we shouldn't have a street named after him. He should have been stripped of his military honors. It's ridiculous to have a street named after him. We don't have a street named after Charles Manson. Why do we have a street named after the biggest infiltrator of the federal government ever? Plus all the numerous crimes he's done to these poor families. Just listen to the heart of Laura FM when she calls in. And when she's screaming out like that, when she's crying out, that's trauma coming out. That's history of abuse that she can't hold in anymore when she sees her friend just trying to walk down a sidewalk get attacked by these people. For the Oscars, we don't even close off the sidewalk. They're required to
That's
have
time.
a
Thank you.
walkway.
President King, that wraps up public comment.
Thank you. With that, we will close the general public comment portion of today's meeting and move on to multiple agenda item public comment. The board will provide an opportunity for members of the public wishing to speak on more than one agenda item during multiple agenda item comment period for up to a minute per item, up to a total of 3 minutes per meeting. This is the only time to speak on more than one agenda item, and please identify the items that you'll speak on when you are called. We do not have any in-person speakers, so we will transition to our virtual platform.
Audit LA, what items would you like to speak on?
I'm gonna bounce around, but I'm gonna start off with 4, and then I'll name which ones when I hit it. Number 4, I think, is my favorite item of the year, or ever since I've come. It's my absolute favorite, number 4, because you're telling them, if I understand correctly, no, you're unable to do this. You're not able to follow whatever the plan is, the contract, and so we're going to say no. If we're just, and the fact that you have something on the agenda where you're revoking something and saying nope, you're not going to do it, that gives me hope that one day we will have an agenda item that says nope, you cannot maintain this R permit because you're not able to or willing to do what's required, or that you're going to stop the different special event permits. So number 4 is going down as my absolute all-time favorite agenda item. And number 1 for bids, when it comes to bids, it's funny. Like dealing with Scientology has changed my worldview. Okay, I used to think, okay, you just do bids, and the lowest bidder does it, and I know the rules. You have to do lowest bidder, whatever, or qualified bidder, of course. But I never had to think of, okay, who are you bringing bids from? Do these companies engage in labor, human trafficking? I didn't know that was a thing, but it is. And it's not just Scientology that does it. Of course, Scientology does it for its own benefits, but there's other places too that make a lot of money off of the desperation of people. They want permits to be here. And so, or they want to, live a better life, or they're just trafficked. And I thought that stuff happened in other countries. I actually became, was going to become, I took a job where I was going to be an investigator, looking into the sweatshops and looking for labor abuses. Here, you don't have to go to different countries. It's right here. So we have to be mindful of who we're bidding, not just the
That's
lowest
time.
bidder. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we have Henry. Can you identify which items you'd like to speak on?
Yes, good morning. I would like to start on the minutes to 4, and then I'll bounce around on another item.
What other item?
We'll do 5, and then we'll do 6 as well.
Okay, you have 3 minutes.
So talking on the minutes, I'm actually against the approval of the minutes as is. I've spoken about this before, as have many others. It's a problem where you do not preserve the public record accurately. And it's in fact not only the presiding president's responsibility and duty, but so is to the presiding deputy city attorney to ensure that the public record is preserved, not just the video record. And one of those responsibilities by legal mandate includes making sure that the minutes are accurate. The minutes for quite a while now have not shown the public comments being reflected in them. You cannot just simply state that public comment was taken. None of those meeting minutes accurately show whether people are for or against or neutral on any of the agenda items, nor the comments associated. If you take a look at the Board of Supervisors for the county and various other city committees, and commissions, they do just this. They record each of those tallies and preserve the public record as such. If I were to do a CPRA right now and see for the past, say, 3 meetings, how people have voted based on their public comments, you would not be able to tell me, Deputy Attorney, you would not be able to tell me, Presiding President, because that's not being captured as such in the minutes. And so that's a very big problem. And again, if you want an example of who's doing a stellar job, you can easily just look at the Board of Neighborhood Commissions They do a fantastic job, and they set the example for many other people, including the Ethics Commission and so forth. So I implore you to go uphold your duty and accurately reflect the meeting minutes as such. Moving on number 4, we have here a denial of a permit fee, denial of issuing a permit. Fees were paid to apply for that permit, as they should. Timely response was given, and the people that applied for the permit also did so in a reasonable time. That should be the uniform standard at every individual or entity across LA City. No ifs, ands, or buts. And when it comes time to pay and you don't pay, and you still pretend that you have a permit, you need to be prosecuted as such. I sat down and a conversation was had with the controller, and they made it very clear that the deficit previously reported almost a year ago now is ballooning exponentially. That 1 billion has turned into significantly more billions. The city is desperate for money. Go and collect these fees because the city needs it. If that means you have to prosecute a grandma, an auntie, an uncle, or somebody that doesn't abide by a simple permit application, then you go and you get that money, or you place liens and you get their assets, because the city needs the money. And this is very simple civil enforcement that does have criminal penalties should those entities not pay. And that's a big problem. The city is giving away free money in a time where it's desperate. On
Thank
one of
you,
these
that's
other
time.
task solicit-
And seeing no more hands raised, that concludes multiple agenda comment.
Thank you very much. With that, we will close multiple item public comment portion of today's meeting and move forward with the approval of minutes for Monday, November 17, 2025. Commissioners, any questions or comments? Seeing none, is there a first and a second?
So moved.
First by Commissioner Cardenas, seconded by Commissioner Mitchell.
We have a first by Commissioner Cardenas and second by Commissioner Mitchell. And we will take a roll call for the approval of the minutes. President Kang,
Yes.
Commissioner Cardenas,
Yes.
Commissioner Mitchell. All ayes, minutes are approved.
Thank you very much. Moving forward, we accepted the bids this morning at 10. However, we'll be reading them we'll be opening them for a special agenda on December 1st, 2025. So moving on to item number 2 for the Bureau of Engineering, revised task order solicitation number 12, SOMAS.
Good morning, Board of Public Works. Lindsay Nash, GIS and Mapping Division for the Bureau of Engineering. The request before you is to revise task order solicitation of SOMAS from $26,677,000 to $27,177,000 for the Build LA project. TOS 12 was initially issued by the board in April 2021, and this TOS is currently supporting 10 departments in the city. This TOS revision would be adding engineering special funds to the various projects benefiting and upgrading BOE's systems for Build LA. The purpose of the project is to provide an efficient and integrated experience for development services across city departments and the creation of a single portal to deliver consolidated information. TOS 12 provides staff augmentation, project management, and programming services towards that effort. TOS 12 includes staff-augmented project management and programming services for not just BOE, but various departments, as I stated before. And TOS 12 with SOMAS is providing services for the multi-departmental project, the overall Build LA project, as well as 10 different departments for their specific departmental upgrades, enhancements, and projects they need in order to tie into the Build LA portal. One of BOE's largest efforts in gearing up for the Build LA customer portal is migrating all of our existing web applications from the programming framework called Cold Fusion to a more secure framework called ASP.NET. Not only will this migration provide security behind the many functions of our bureau, it will create seamless interaction and compatibility with the Build LA customer portal. Additionally, we have launched a new user interface user experience in our A-Permits application, and we are now using that as a template as we work towards the new look and feel across all BOE applications. BOE has about 25 to 30 permitting applications, so it's quite a feat. We have two types of special funds that are currently funding this project: the Engineering Equipment and Training Trust Fund, which is a special fund from a 7% surcharge on BOE permits and services, and the Development Services Trust Fund, which is generated from a 3% surcharge on various development services across the city. Since our last revision, the Department of Transportation has decided to onboard their own consultant for their work, so the 3% funding of the project under this task order is being reduced by $500,000. However, the city engineer has approved an allocation of $1 million in 7% special funds for this project, recommending the Board of Public Works approve this authorization to revise the task and add these funds to TOS 12 for a net increase of $500,000 to a total authorization of $27,177,000. That concludes my report, and I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
Thank you very much. Commissioners, any questions or comments related to this item? All right, seeing none, is there a first and a second?
Second.
First by Commissioner Mitchell, seconded by Commissioner Cardenas.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have a first by Commissioner Mitchell and a second by Commissioner Cardenas. Now we will take the roll. President Kang,
Aye.
Commissioner Cardenas,
Aye.
Commissioner Mitchell. Item is adopted, subject to conditions carried forward.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm going to be staying for item 3.
And then moving on
President
to,
Kang, if I may intervene,
Yes.
I wanted to clarify for the bids. I wanted to give a date that when the bids will be read, and that's going to be December 1st.
correct. Thank you for that clarification. Moving on to item number 3, request for authority, LA Region Imagery Acquisition Consortium Data Refresh Project.
Good morning again, Board. Lindsay Nashigan, GIS and Mapping Division. I'm not going to bother saying all that. We refer to it as the LARIAC, so I'm just going to refer to it as the LARIAC, if that's okay. The LARIAC project and the participation agreement go back to 2005 between LA County and local cities and agencies within the county. Rather than each agency paying on their own, about 40 cities group together and pay for these services, imagery, and data. The LARIAC provides us with high-resolution images and LiDAR services that measure topography and elevations, which we are able to capture in compatible format and use within GIS applications, including Navigate LA. Many departments and bureaus within the city benefit from the LARIAC, and as such are participating again this year. The Department of Recreation, Parks, and Streets LA participated in LARIAC 7, but not in this LARIAC 8 agreement due to fiscal constraints. However, LA DOT joined in on LARIAC 8 because they also saw the benefit of the LARIAC. LARIAC data and imagery is valuable to the city as a whole. For example, instead of doing field visits in areas to assess street or sidewalk conditions, we can use this technology. The Department of City Planning uses this data in their mapping system. The Department of Building and Safety may use it for inspection activities, while other agencies listed in this agreement can use this GIS data for maps and analyses that can be used for planning and construction purposes. The cost decreased about 30% since our last agreement that was executed in 2023, and we share the cost with other agencies. We worked really hard with LA County to ensure that this cost breakdown of cost shares between each department would make it reasonable under current budget pressures. So we do not anticipate this sort of relief to be given by the county in future agreements. The breakdown of cost share between each department is in the recommendations, but can also be seen on page 3 of the report. The cost share for Public Works bureaus participating in the LARIAC is about $37,000 each. With that, we're asking the board to adopt our report and forward it to the City Council. Given your approval, we'll be asking the City Council for authorization to execute the participation agreement, which is Transmittal 1, and to pay the county $539,000 for the acquisition of this imagery and associated products, and approve of the BOE funding in the amount of $36,756.12, and request the transfer of funds from these departments to BOE, as we will be handling the payment for these services. That concludes my report, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. We have a question from Commissioner Cardenas.
Just one question. Why is DWP listed twice?
They have separate funding accounts for water and for power.
Makes sense.
Yep.
Even though it's DWP, water and power in the name, but
Correct.
okay.
Thank you.
Different funding sources, I guess.
Exactly.
Thank you.
And to get a better understanding what the functionality of LARIAC is it combining, for me to get a better understanding, is it sort of like a Google Maps kind of a tool with GIS kind of embedded in it?
That's right. And we're able to use that imagery and like plans that we produce for construction projects, for overlays and stuff like that. It's better resolution than Google Maps, so it's primarily what we use in Navigate LA as well.
Okay, and is it updated more frequently?
Every 2
than
years, so
2 years? Okay.
perhaps. I mean, I think Google imagery is kind of sporadic across the board, but this is every 2 years.
And this is just for LA County?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct, yep.
Understood. Any other questions or comments, commissioners? All right, seeing none, is there a first and a second?
Second.
First by Commissioner Mitchell, seconded by Commissioner Cardenas.
We have a first by Commissioner Mitchell, second by Commissioner Cardenas. We will take a roll. President Kang,
Aye.
President Cardenas, Commissioner Cardenas,
Aye.
and Commissioner Mitchell. All ayes. Item is adopted and referred to Mayor and Council forthwith.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Moving on to item number 4 for Council District 14. This has been continued to Wednesday, December 3rd, 2025. And then moving on to item number 5 in Council District 4 and 13, Contract Award, Glendale Hyperion Complex of Bridges, Phase 2, Federal Aid Project.
Greetings, Board President and Commissioners. My name is Andrew S. Senior Civil Engineer with the Bureau of Engineering Bridge Improvement Division. The purpose of this joint board report is to request the authority to award the construction contract for the Glendale Hyperion Complex of Bridges Phase 2 project to Stacy and Whitbeck. The scope of the Glendale Hyperion project is to seismically retrofit, structurally widen, and historically renovate the existing complex of bridges at Glendale Boulevard and Hyperion Avenue. The bridge complex traverses the Los Angeles River and the I-5 freeway. As part of the widening and retrofit, the approaches will be reconfigured to incorporate continuous bike lanes and sidewalks for multimodal accessibility and safety. The project will also realign the I-5 freeway off-ramp to address traffic circulation and safety issues in the area. A bioinfiltration basin will also be constructed at the Sunny Nook River Park to treat runoff from the bridge. The lampposts, balustrades, and pylons will be historically renovated as well. The project duration is approximately 1,800 calendar days. The project is located in the Silver Lake and Atwater Village communities and borders Council Districts 4 and 13. BOE has been continuously meeting with both council offices on a monthly basis to keep them apprised of all project updates, and both council offices enthusiastically support this project. So the project was rebid and received bids from 2 prospective bidders on July 24, 2024. The apparent low bidder was Stacy and Whitbeck, whose bid came in at $208,824,888. Both bids were found to be responsive and no protests were received. The project is federally funded by the Caltrans Highway Bridge Program, which is a discretionary transportation grant fund. Due to the magnitude of the bids received, BOE worked with the project sponsor Caltrans to navigate high-cost procedures and program additional federal highway bridge program and state Proposition 1B funds to provide sufficient budget for the construction award. The HBP funds will reimburse 88.53% of construction expenditures, and the Prop 1B funds will contribute $11 million towards the city's burden of the local match. Concurrently, BOE was also able to work with Public Works Committee and City Council to execute City Council File Number 05-0173-S1 to accept the grant funds and contribute the local match and cash flow for the project through CTIP SB1 funds. The sum total of the contract budget is $229,707,376.80, which includes contingency. In accordance with the financial liability clause in the report, the CAO's office will be responsible for identifying and allocating cash flow funds for the project through the annual budget process, subject to approval by the mayor's office and council. The project was advertised with a 23% DBE goal, which Stacy and Whitbeck met with their bid. Due to the recent interim final ruling from the U.S. Department of Transportation, the DBE program is indefinitely suspended. Therefore, the report clarifies that DBE requirements will not be enforced and will be suspended in accordance with the interim final ruling. So in conclusion, based upon the extensive reviews and coordination with Caltrans, the CAO, Bureau of Contract Administration, Office of Accounting, City Attorney, and Project Award and Control Division, we respectfully recommend that the board declare Stacy Whitbeck as the lowest responsible bidder and award them this contract. This concludes my presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you very much. Commissioners, any questions or comments? Commissioner Cardenas.
Just doing some rough numbers, 1,800 days is approximately 5 years?
Correct.
When is this going to start? What's the approximate start time we're planning on getting this started?
Yeah, about February of 2026.
So it'll go through February to 2031?
Yeah, about, yeah. And what's driving the schedule is that we're constrained by the dry season window in the Los Angeles River. We can only work between April to October. And we have about 9 phases of traffic control on the deck, and we want to make sure as to not to impact the residents to keep 1 lane of traffic open in each direction. So LADOT has approved our traffic control plans to ensure we have 1 lane of traffic open in each direction during the construction and the phasing.
All right, thank you.
Are there any incentives or benefits for the folks to finish early? 5 years is a quite a bit of time. Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. We do have in our general requirements an incentive for the contractor to finish early. Once we commence with the pre-construction scheduling conference, the contractor can propose to finish early, and there are some incentives for early payment and things like that in accordance with our general requirements.
And I know you mentioned we're limited to the dry season, but given the environment and the weather is unpredictable these days, if rainy season does occur during those months, would that potentially lead to delays?
It's possible, but as part of the requirements of the 3 permits for the Los Angeles River, the 404, the 408 permits from the Army Corps, the 1602 from California Department of Fish and Wildlife, and the 401 from Water Quality Control Board, we have to implement what's called a water diversion plan, where we divert, the flow in the LA River to one side, and we put ample berms, which are K-rails, cofferdams, things like that. So even if there is sort of a robust rain event, the water diversion berms that will in place will prevent any sort of delays in the Los Angeles River. The delays would more likely be to unforeseen conditions during the drilling of the piles.
Okay. And then during those months where we're not in active construction, all the lanes will be open?
Correct, yeah. So when we're working in the Los Angeles River, there won't be any work happening on the deck. So the work is going to basically occur with the Los Angeles River foundation work first. We'll reconfigure the I-5 off-ramp, and once basically the foundation work is done in the river and the off-ramp is reconfigured, then we'll move to working on the deck. So while the work is occurring at the LA River, none of the lanes on the actual bridge deck will be detoured. They'll be fully open.
And I know we had this discussion, but given that this bridge is a very popular artery between Glendale and the city of LA, that there would be a robust outreach engagement plan to alert the adjacent neighborhoods.
Absolutely, yeah. So we, after our meeting last week, President King, I actually reached out to CD4 and 13, and we're going to be working with our BOE comms manager, Mary Nemec, to begin those discussions with, the community, and most likely schedule a town hall in January, and start briefing them about the impending groundbreaking and things like that.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other questions or comments, commissioners? All right, seeing none, is there a first and a second?
Second.
First by Commissioner Mitchell, seconded by Commissioner Cardenas.
We have a first by Commissioner Mitchell and a second by Commissioner Cardenas. We will take a vote. President Kang?
Aye.
Commissioner Cardenas?
Aye.
And Commissioner Mitchell? Thank you. Report is adopted and subject to conditions forthwith.
Thank you very much. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving.
Moving on to item number 6, which is a motion for Council District 14, budget shortfall, 6th Street Viaduct, Parks, Arts, and River connectivity improvements.
Good morning, President King, commissioners, most welcome guests. My name is Marcelino Asensio with the Bureau of Engineering, Senior Civil Engineer for the Architecture Division. This motion is to update the original approved funding table. recommending that the board approve the funding table number 4 and funding table number 5, which reflect the following changes. Number 1, remove a portion of the PickleWorks funding swap in the amount of $3,143,943 due to unsuccessful attempts to find appropriate projects to complete a funding swap, but retain the Broadway Streetscape / PickleWorks swap in the amount of $1,742,125, of which the swap has been completed and is successful. Item number 2 is to add Arts District development fees from the Department of Cultural Affairs totaling $518,544 to funding table number 4 as itemized in funding table number 5, which includes 44 individual accounts. Recommendation number 3, combine Measure A, Central City North in the amount of $709,614 and Measure A, Boyle Heights in the amount of $1,100,000 into one funding source in table, in funding table 4, Measure A, 6th Street Park, and increase the funding amount to $3,610,032. Recommendation number 4 is to zero out the SR 710 grant in the amount of $2 million and Measure A grant in the amount of $3,610,032. Since both grants are reimbursement based, both accounts will be reserved to receive reimbursements. Front funding in the equal amount are provided as part of item number 5 below. Item number 5 is to add additional funds from the Municipal Improvement Corporation of Los Angeles, also known as MICLA, to fill in the funding shortfall in the amount of $16,110,017, and it's as approved in the mayor's budget for fiscal year 25-26. And finally, recommendation number 6 is to add an additional $2 million to funding table number 4 from the approved MICLA funding in the mayor's budget in fiscal year 24-25 as construction contingency to cover remaining construction period. And I do have one verbal amendment to number 6. I would like to add the sentence, the overall project authority will increase from $68,925,997 to $72,746, or excuse me, let me start that again, $72,746,148. And then authorize the city engineer working with staff from the Office of Accounting to make any technical corrections to funding table number 4 and 5, including necessary updates and funding accounting, and funding accounting information with the condition that there will be no change to the total approved amount for each identified funding source. I just wanted to point out that this is a revision again to the original funding table. So we're updating the funding table, providing new sources of funding, as I mentioned in the recommendations, and increasing the budget authority. I just want to note that there is a lot of funding tables here. So funding table number 5 is the list of all DCA accounts that will be included. It's very long. It's 44 accounts. We're just showing it for transparency purposes. It is consolidated into a single line into table number 4. So I just wanted to be clear on that. There's a lot of tables here. And so with that being said, the original contract, just to go back into the history of it, was awarded with a $7.36 million shortfall, as well as unidentified funding sources. And so what this funding table does is fill in that shortfall and then identify those to be determined funding sources. We've added several funding sources, including the 710 mobility grant, Measure A, and MICLA, as I mentioned. And so this motion ensures that the project is fully funded through completion. With that, that concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Before we get to questions, can you read the verbal amendment for number 6?
Yes, of course. So adding a sentence to the very end, the overall project budget authority will increase from, I'll just say the numbers, 68,925,997 to 72,746,148. So $68,925,997 to $72,746,148. All the numbers.
Thank you very much. Commissioners, any questions or comments?
I have one.
Commissioner Cardenas.
Yes. Can you remind us what's the where are we at in the construction? Are we 50%, 100%, 90%? Where's the construction?
Sure. So I will love to invite my colleague, project
Sure.
manager, Mr. Shunyu Zhang, who's here with me to answer project-specific questions.
Good morning, President Kang, Commissioner Mitchell, Commissioner Cardenas. My name is Shunyu Zhang. I'm civil engineer with the BOE Architectural Divisions. I'm also the project manager for the 6th Street Park project. To answer your questions, for the current construction status, we're at 62% construction. Our anticipated construction completion date is August 29th, 2025. Certainly based on the current rain seasons, whether we're actually going to have extensive delays or not, or other unforeseen site conditions, we may actually see a little bit of delay, but for sure we will actually complete it by the end of 2026. So that is our current construction status. Thank you.
I have a follow-up question. And correct me if I'm wrong on my memory. Is this a project where we had some power issues finding the power source for a portion of the project, or am I confusing it with another project?
Yeah, you're right. You have good memories. Yes, we actually previously we came back, which is to have a large item change orders, which is to one is taking care of the utility revisions, because LDWP actually asked us to relocate the point of connection from Anderson to the mission site. We actually had to have these elongated conduit extensions. That is why we actually see about $1.6 million change orders. So our current change order is executed change order is $4.6 million. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Commissioners, any other last minute questions or comments? All right, seeing none, is there a first and a second?
Second.
First by Commissioner Mitchell, seconded by Commissioner Cardenas, as amended.
Great, thank you. Happy Thanksgiving.
So we have a first by Commissioner Mitchell and a second by Commissioner Cardenas. And we will take a vote. President Kang?
Aye.
Commissioner Cardenas?
Aye.
And Commissioner Mitchell? All ayes. Item is adopted and carries forward.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rodriguez. I believe that concludes our voting items for today.
Yes, that's the end of our agenda items.
Our next meeting will be on Monday, December 1st, 2025. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Thank you, everybody. The meeting is now adjourned at 10:46 a.m.